Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OC Varsity Gridiron Show, Week 9 edition. I'm Dan Albano, joined here by the Hall of Famer Steve Fryer, as we are back to talk about everything that is league oriented. These are league competition, big league games this week, Mr. Fryer. We got some interesting matchups, got some new blood to talk about this week. How you doing as we go into some more Week 9? It's almost crunch time, basically.
Every week's crunch time when you get in the league, isn't it?
Indeed, for sure. And this week is no different. Prior, let's start with the Thursday night matchup in the North Hills League, which has been one of the most exciting leagues in Orange County. You got number 18 Canyon and their high-powered offense, led by Christian Lunsberg at quarterback, taking on El Medina, 8-0. El Medina's climbed to number 12 in Orange County, having maybe their best season since 1991 as far as an 8-0 start. This is an interesting one because El Medina also has a really good defense to counter that offense by Canyon. El Medina only allowing 8.5 points basically per game to its opponents. Who do you like in this one and why?
El Medina, that defense is ferocious. It attacks, and they're going to attack Christian Lunsberg pretty well. If those guys get open, Fox Haugen and Kayvon Monfort, the really good receiver, and Colin Chu, great receivers over there at Canyon. If they can protect Lunsberg and he can get the ball to those guys, he's extremely accurate. He's tall. He sees the field. He's good. But I think El Medina is going to attack him pretty good. Good set of linebackers over there, Owen Smith and Mason Hitchens, et cetera. Good front line. Lost a pretty good guy. Esteban Chacor got messed up his shoulder last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Separated his shoulder early. He probably shouldn't have played, but he knew it was delicate and he went out there and played anyway. He's a great kid. But I like El Medina to win this game. Offense, they're going to control the ball. Owen Smith runs the ball really well. Mason Hitchens needs short stuff. Quarterback Xavier Guess, he can run it too. He's quick. He can move. You're not going to hit him solid because he's going to shift it just enough, But I think with their defense and their offense, their ball control offense, I see Elmo winning this game.
All right. Well, I've started to think about El Medina are they top 10 worthy in Orange County? I know it's kind of a big question, but you look at their Cal Preps ranking, they're at 42.8, which is higher than Corona Del Mar and San Clemente. So that's what Cal Preps and those wise computers think about El Medina. I'm starting to think about him for top 10. I'm interested to see this game and see how they do. That is a key injury on Esteban. He's probably their best defensive lineman, and these teams also have a pretty close comparative score against Villa Park, for example. Canyon beat them by 16, and El Medina beat the Spartans by 15 points. I'm picking El Medina, but I think this is going to be a pretty close game. Let's move on to some new blood on Friday night. Two teams we haven't talked about this year on the Gridiron Show, and I'm happy to do it with you today right now. How about Westminster? Maybe flying under the radar, 8-0, but maybe their defense, can't be flying under the radar. 6 shutouts. They've only allowed like 18 points for the whole season.
Right.
It's got to probably be the county low for points allowed. Taking on Laguna Beach, who quietly has been a really strong small school power really this year. They own an impressive victory against Northwood, who I think is an excellent team. That's a one-loss Northwood team that won a CIF title last year, and that was a close game. Laguna Beach also lost in a close game to Dana Hills, who's a very solid program, just outside maybe the top 25. And they played Crean Lutheran, who's undefeated, pretty darn close. Crean Lutheran just outside of the top 25. So Laguna Beach has done some good things. And oh, by the way, they started the season in Idaho on a road trip. So, and of course, we got to say congratulations for Laguna Beach for the historical performance of senior running back Bella Rasmussen, who became the first girl to score 2 touchdowns in a single varsity football game last week in a blowout against Medina. So big congrats to Bella Rasmussen, also the OC Varsity Female Athlete of the Week for that historical performance. So Who do you think of this game? Because I think this is a pretty good one because you got Westminster's defense, one of the best in the county statistically, and you got Laguna Beach, which has got a high-powered offense, playing some probably better competition so far.
You know, if you're going to have an Idaho versus team versus Laguna Beach football game, shouldn't Idaho be coming out here? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But really good game. Westminster too. Interesting thing. Really young. Some of their better players in the offensive side of things, Alex Solano, et cetera. He's a sophomore. A lot of sophomores and juniors on that team. So this isn't just some quirky season for the Lions of Westminster, man. They're going to be good. They're going to be good. I think they're getting some heavenly help from the great Bill Boswell, one of the greatest coaches ever. Yeah, I think Coach Boswell's loving this stuff. The thing about Westminster, though, Laguna Beach is only the second team they'll have played that is above 500. So they beat Los Amigos 5-3, but Los Amigos is pretty good, and they scored pretty well against Los Amigos. So that's impressive too. And like you say, Laguna Beach has played really well. I think they lost to Dana Hills by only 4 points as well. And you talked about the close game with Northwood, and Northwood just beat Laguna Hills too, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So impressive stuff here. This is a really good looking game. Is Westminster kind of young and still figuring it out? I don't know. I think they're doing a really good job with that group over there. I'm going with the Lions in this game.
Going with the Lions. All right.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to pick. Coach Steven Anderson doing a great job in his third year.
Yes, sir.
So is Coach Shanahan John Shanahan at Laguna Beach. I'm going with the Breakers to win this game. They're at home. Their best guy is junior Reiner Swanson, a junior tight end and defensive end. And Coach Anderson was telling me this week that this guy, he's like a 6'5" tight end, one of the best tight ends in Orange County, but he's doing a great job at defensive end. And last year the Breakers really took it to the Lions, won like 56-14. I think it'll be much closer. I think the Cal Preps projection is like a 1-point game in favor of Laguna Beach. So we differ.
It is 28-26. Laguna Beach favored.
Very good game
by the computer guys
out of the Pac-4 league on Friday. So this is for the Pac-4 league title. I will be interested. Both these teams, I predict, will maybe go on some playoff runs if they end in favorable divisions. I could see them being contenders. Hey, talking about close games, hard games to predict. We just keep going right on here on the Gridiron Show. How about Trabuco Hills playing host to Suddenly Hot Now? One victory, San Juan Hills. San Juan Hills really took it to El Toro 47-3 last week. Stallions got their first win. They're back in the top 25, but they take on Trabuco Hills, which has been in the top 25 now for weeks, been more consistent. The Mustangs are 19. They're 6-2 overall, but this one looks like it's for the Seaview League title. So this is, the Mustangs have, earned a share of that title last year. San Juan Hills coming down from the South Coast League. Maybe they figured some things out. They got Butter Tolfason going last week. He had an excellent game. I think most importantly that they ran the ball well, but you're going to see a Trabuco Hills team led by Will Burns.
Yeah.
One of the better quarterbacks in Orange County. Mustangs searching for that signature win. They've had close losses to Newport and Tesoro. And by the way, the Mustangs did play Tesoro closer than San Juan Hills did recently. So there's that. Who do you got in this very close competitive game?
The interesting thing about San Juan Hills is they won that El Toro game by a lot, like you said, coming off the bye. So maybe they kind of, use that bye to retool, figure things out, move some chess pieces around on the table a little bit. But I'm, and I kept waiting for San Juan Hills to get it together and play as good as we thought they would be, right? Maybe last week was they kicked that door down and now they're on their way. But, Trabuco Hills been more consistent during the course of the season. So I got to go with the Mustangs. Trabuco Hills.
This was a hard game for me to call. I really struggled with it, but I like that the Mustangs have been more consistent. I like the Will Burns factor, and they're at home in this game. They've hung tough against Tesoro and Newport Harbor, two physical teams. So I think that it's going to be a tight game, good game.
Yeah.
I won't be stunned if San Juan Hills win, but I'm also picking the Mustangs.
Correct.
Right.
I agree with you. I'm not going to be surprised if San Juan Hills gets this win. Not at all.
Yeah.
And going back the other way, Laguna Hills, like you said, they played that schedule. I'm a train to schedule guy, but I just feel like Westminster, they might be onto something special. Go ahead.
There you go. All right. Trinity League. This is an interesting one, I think, for a few different reasons. But how about Servite? I know some Trinity League fans and OC football fans are going to be watching this one. Servite, 1-7, winless in the Trinity League, going down to San Juan Hills to take on J. Sarah. So this one is interesting because you got J. Sarah that is 0-3 in league as well. Both teams have not won a league game. J. Sarah's had some close losses, especially that one to Santa Margarita.
Yes, sir.
But then of course, they played Mater Dei very well. So you got San Juan. So you got J. Sarah. They're 3-5. I think they're looking at that 500 record. You want to get to 500 to give yourself the best chance you can be for an at-large berth. That's going to put you ahead of the line against other teams that aren't 500 when it comes to looking at those at-large berths, based again all on the power rankings from Cal Preps. Then on the flip side for Servite, nobody wants to be the 0-5 team in the Trinity League. It's probably been a while since the Friars, while rebuilding, they haven't been 0-5. This is their best chance to get that league win. It could be, it could be your Super Bowl for the Friars, so to say. And this is a team against, J. Sarah that's, is physically not as imposing as like the Friars are going to see next week against Mater Dei, or they saw against Bosco. The Friars are a scrappy team. The J. Sarah is a scrappy team, but they're not, physically intimidating too much. They have a couple big linemen, but overall, physically, it could be an interesting matchup. Even though I think Servite's on that in that ballpark as well. But this game intrigues me. What do you think of this one, Fryer?
I think J. Sarah wins this game. You look at comparative scores. You mentioned the Margarita game. That was what, 28-26 or something, 29-28, that Margarita got that win. And then Margarita beat Servite 56-14. So just looking at those sorts of things, and J. Sarah's just played better overall during the whole course of the season. So I got to go with J. Sarah to win this game. Nobody wants to go 0-5 in that league. I think J. Sarah gets off of that path because I think J. Sarah is going to get the W.
Yeah, I'm also picking J. Sarah, but I think this could be a pretty competitive game.
It could be fun.
They gave up the most points they have all season last week against a red hot Santa Margarita team, Jackson Potter. They saw their old teammate, Emmett Mosley, Gage Burnett. I'm sure that was a tough one for Servite in a lot of ways. Nobody's playing quarterback better right now, it seems like, than Jackson Potter. So, but this is going to be some, this will be a good one. A couple of good running backs I like in this game. Quade Carr, sophomore, coming up with Servite, and George Perez, another one coming up with J. Sarah. So we'll see how this one goes, but I'm picking the Lions. Hey, I think maybe the game of the week, we got to go back to the always entertaining Sunset League, Battle of the Bay. Always an interesting one. Gotten a little bit more interesting last year, but Corona Del Mar hooking up with Newport Harbor, its rival. Corona Del Mar has won this rivalry 10 straight years, but 2 years ago, it was a pretty close game. Corona Del Mar 10-7 over Newport Harbor. I think both teams are relatively healthy now. The big one back for, Corona Del Mar is quarterback David Razor. Colton has been playing good quarterback for Newport all year. I have a feeling this one could be a pretty good game. I know Newport has been, chomping on the bit to try to knock off Corona Del Mar. It's kind of owned the Bay lately, last decade. So who do you like in this one, Fryer?
Boy, this is a tough one, Dan. I went back and forth on this one. And so, sometimes when you just can't figure it out, just look at the rankings. Don't go against our rankings. We got Corona Del Mar at number 11. We got Newport Harbor at 14. I'm going with the Sea Kings, and you're right. It's going to be a really good game. I mean, people are going to be there. That place is going to be full, and it's going to just be a blast. So I think Sea Kings get it. David Razor has a good game. They got to cover Cashton Henjum. That guy gets open. He's catching the ball. And then once he catches it and he starts running by Cashton, you're going to the end zone. But I think CDM gets it.
Yeah, and Newport has got to cover Cooper Hoach.
Yes.
Hoach, excuse me, for Corona Del Mar, who is a
Yes,
tall
sir.
receiver. He can go to the house at any moment, and he's physical and he's athletic and he's a big guy. But those are two of the better receivers for sure in Orange County. Been really impressed. Cooper was the breakout receiver in Orange County, in my opinion, in the summer, and Cashton has really elevated his game this year as well. So I've been impressed. So I think this could be a really entertaining game. I think because I think the offenses might have the advantage in this one. We'll see, but this was I think Newport has improved, but I'm going to go with Corona Del Mar in this one.
Okay.
So we only disagree on one game this week, so there is some hope for me to maybe catch a little ground in the standings. You are up on me. You have a 32-12 record, Mr. Fryer. I'm at 29-13, so I could make a little ground because we disagree on the Laguna Beach Westminster game.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens. You know what all these teams have in common too, Dan? I was looking at this list here. They all got really good coaches. Every one of them. You know, you're looking up and down this thing. I mean, my goodness, what a good group of guys running these programs out here in Orange County. Which brings me to this little thought, and I mentioned it in my first and 10 thing this week. You know, there's been some Twitter garbage out there about, you know, teams maybe trying to lose to get into a more favorable division. There is not a coach in Orange County in any sport who's trying to lose a game. Any sport. Doesn't happen. So anybody's thinking that so-and-so is going to go light and try and get down to from division 3 to 4 or 6 to 8, you're nuts. These guys are way too competitive. They're in their Saturday morning after a game at 8 o'clock, breaking down film, working on things, figuring stuff out. These guys work way too hard to toss a game away. They're all trying to win every gosh darn second, every play, every possession.
I agree. I mean, I think an interesting case about that. You know, look how I thought Edison competed pretty well against Los Al this past week. You know, they threw the ball a lot. They got behind. You know, I think they kept their QB in Parker Awad, and they played as hard as they could in that game. And those teams end up switching places and in the Cal Preps rankings. And Edison is still number 8 in the Southern section.
Yeah, I mean, we all know how Edison rolls. I mean, anybody thinks Edison's trying to win a game. I mean, you need a 12-step program, baby. If you think Edison's gonna not be ready to play every gosh darn down, please. Servite is gonna just go like nuts. They're gonna give you 48 minutes. You know, Jay Sarah's got to be ready. Servite's 1-7. Everybody's kind of like down on him, but you know those guys are going to be ferocious and be fired up, and they're not going to let those asylum guys down. They're not going to let them down. There's no way. They're not going to let their school down. Teams don't do that in Orange County. We got too much pride of program, pride of school going on up and down this, from La Habra to San Clemente, everywhere in between. These guys are way too into it. Ain't happening. They're trying to win.
Yeah, and it's interesting, you know. I can understand why some people are thinking about that because of the Cal Preps rankings, and you look at the numbers and you wonder, you know, because it's so computer generated, and so you know everyone's gonna be crunching those numbers pretty soon. But if you want to be successful, you know, you got to play a good schedule and compete. So we'll be interested to see how whatever division everybody falls into in just a couple of weeks, and then the next season, the postseason begins, and people are going to make some runs, and there'll be some interesting matchups.
There's always upsets, always fun. You never know what you're going to get. Heck, this week.
I know. So it's
I'm not going to go 5-0 this week. There's no way. I've been 5-0 3 weeks in a row or something stupid.
Oh,
I don't know.
I believe
I'm not going 5-0 this week. There's no way.
You might. That's going to be a good game down at Laguna Beach. So, well, hey, so for Steve Fryer, I'm Dan Albano. Thanks for joining us on the Gridiron Show. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys at the games.
See you then.